welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to talk about a 100-year-old business that essentially focused on what Hampton has focused on for long before the Europeans settled here, and that is seafood. My guest is Mead Amory of Amory Seafood and Trucking. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
It's a treat to have you here. You're a little shy.
A little.
We have wanted to have you on the show for quite some time. So you guys, your sign alone downtown is one of those iconic images of Hampton. I mean, I just think of Hampton when I see that because seafood grew this city, basically, and rebuilt this city, you know, after the devastation of the Civil War and everything was burned. I mean, it has kind of been our prosperity anchor forever and ever and ever.
Yes, it's funny when you build a new building in Hampton and you do the foundation, it's nothing but oyster shells and crab shells. So it has literally built this city.
Yeah, it has. And you guys technically started in Poquoson, but we'll overlook that because you moved to Hampton. When was that?
In the early 30s, 1930s.
Now, obviously you weren't around, but you guys have pictures, you've got relatives. Downtown at that time in the 30s looked like what? I mean, paint us this picture of
well, all around the waterfront were seafood houses, crab picking houses, oyster shucking houses, big piles of shells of oysters that had been shucked, and lots of workers heading down to pick crabs and shuck oysters, and lots of small boats fishing here in the local waters, and then eventually bigger trawlers for offshore boats started coming in.
And you guys were the pier that these boats came to and did the packaging, right?
Yes. So we would offer the boats a place to get ice and fuel. They would unload with us, and then we would sell the fish and distribute all throughout the East Coast, and then now eventually throughout the Midwest, and now internationally also.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you know, back then, without great refrigeration and pasteurization and all those kinds of things, your market had to be kind of a day's drive.
It was very close back then. And then as the transportation got better and trucks evolved and refrigeration evolved, we expanded with that out throughout the whole country, really, concentrating mainly in the Midwest and the Eastern Seaboard.
See, I wish you'd gotten there sooner, because when I grew up in Ohio, we didn't eat seafood. We were landlocked. It didn't, you know, it just wasn't a part of what we did. And then I moved here and discovered this whole new wonderful cuisine.
Well, if you're now in Ohio, we run trucks twice a week.
Your trucks would be
hopefully
coming.
they're eating more seafood in Ohio now.
Yeah, that's great. So. Well, what kinds of different, you know, there's been a lot of rise and fall. There have been years where oysters are in trouble and there were very few oysters. And there have been years when, you know, we've overfished, or years when there was a disease that affected fish.
Sure.
Or as you've had to move deeper out to sea, what are some of the kinds of seafood that you guys have specialized in or handled?
Well, we mainly concentrate in offshore fish and scallops. There are other companies in the region that concentrate on oysters and crabs, and so we let them do that. We work closely with these other companies because we have our transportation company, so we'll haul their product out to the Midwest and all around the Mid-Atlantic for them. But we predominantly do flounder, sea bass, spot and croaker, scallops, and quite a bit of squid, actually.
So when you say scallops, are these the little bay scallops, or you go far enough out
these
to get the big
scallops.
oyster sea scallops?
Offshore sea scallops.
Wow. Those are my favorite. Right there. Nothing better in the entire world.
They are delicious. And that fishery is very well managed. It's sustainable. It's very consistent from year to year.
That's interesting. And so, you know, it's important in your business to this moderation of fishing and regulation. I mean, all those things, keeping the balance of...
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the reasons we're still here is the management of our fisheries is some of the best in the world, actually. Everything we pack and land is sustainable. It's managed by National Marine Fisheries in federal waters and by the state of Virginia in state waters. And so you can be very assured that everything you buy that's domestically produced is sustainable and well managed.
Now, the imports, some of them are and some of them aren't. I mean, I've become one of those shoppers who always reads the labels, like, where's my
Good.
crab from? Where are my scallops from?
That's very good.
I think it's important for people to know where their food comes from.
Absolutely, absolutely. And some of these other countries have some poor fishing practices or some bad conservation measures, and they're going to have to deal with it in the future. We've had bad fishing practices, and we've overfished in this country, but we've really got a good handle on it now, and we're doing a great job. So the main thing is, if it's domestically produced, it is sustainable and well managed, and we should be very proud of that in this country.
Well, and certainly in Hampton, we encourage people to shop local and to eat local, because we have local opportunities beyond what any other region of the country has, I think.
We do. We're very fortunate where we're located to get probably some of the best seafood in the country. And it's always fresh. You can't beat it.
Yeah. So how has the business, and it's been your family business, I think,
Yes, ma'am.
There aren't a lot of family businesses that manage to survive in the same industry for 100 years. It's tough.
It has been tough. I'll be honest, there's been years where we've wondered if we're still going to be here. And for a lot of different reasons. Government regulations are a problem. But 4 years ago, we had a tornado. It did a lot of damage to our building. We were able to survive that. And it is tough. We've been very fortunate.
So what is your vision for the company moving forward? What do you see?
We're continuing to expand. The transportation business is growing, and that continues to grow. We're processing more product we're bringing in now, where before we were selling to other processors. We are expanding into the harvest side of the business, buying some boats.
Now that's new
permits.
for you, right?
It is in the last 5 years. We've always contracted with the boats to buy their product, and that's worked out very well. It continues to work very well. But we're also getting into the boat ownership side of the business also.
Okay, and what kind of boats? What do they fish
Offshore
for?
trawlers for flounder, sea bass, squid, scallops, things like that.
See, I didn't know we had squid. What kind of
Oh,
squid?
yes.
Tell me about that.
We have 2 varieties of squid on the East Coast, from Virginia up to the Canadian line. The long-fin squid is what most people would have it for calamari. It's very high quality.
It always sounds better when you call it calamari than when you call it squid.
That's true. That's true. It's a much better term. So the calamari variety squid is very popular and does very well. We also have, in more high abundance, offshore a bait squid, short fin that we put up for bait in small boxes. We also put up high volumes of it for shipping overseas to other companies to use for bait.
Okay. So do you envision staying in downtown, having some, I mean, it's different when you're in the dock business than when you're in the trucking business.
It is. It would be very difficult to relocate. We have deep water. It's a very protected harbor. We have the facilities for manufacturing ice and fuel there on the property. And we would really like to stay where we are. We've got a great relationship with the city. They've been wonderful to work with. So we might be expanding in other locations with, say, maybe transportation, things like that. But we'd certainly like to stay in the downtown waterfront.
Well, as you know, because you've been intimately involved in discussions, Hampton really is looking at how we can maximize our waterfront, how we can not go back to the old days, but go back to replace that emphasis on our seafood, on aquaculture, on the research going on at the Virginia Tech,
Yes.
Next door, and your business and Johnny Graham's business, and talking about how we can make that a cornerstone, because it's authentic. And what people want to see these days is authentic, is local, and
Well, it's very unique. I've been to many waterfronts all up and down the East Coast and in the Gulf, and what we have is very unique. And having Virginia Tech's facility right there in between us and the Grab and Rollins Crab House is wonderful opportunity and a good foundation to build on to do some more things and get more people to see what we have down there.
yeah, and right now, I mean, you guys are in these very large metal buildings on the waterfront. We can't get in and see the working dock, and I think that would be a huge draw for downtown people who want a place to eat lunch. It would be a draw for tourists. I mean, somehow all working together to
Absolutely.
maximize that opportunity.
Well, there are discussions about how to do that and ways to go about it, and we look forward to working those things out with the city and Virginia Tech's operations there too.
Yeah, and research that's going to be the foundation of how we can grow. You know, the other thing, it's not just eating local, it is eating healthy. We
Well,
know
absolutely.
that seafood and fish are among one of the best sources of healthy protein that we can all eat. So.
And that's what Virginia Tech offers for us, and having their research facility right next to our building down there has been a great help, both for food safety and food quality, and they've been very helpful in that regard for both us and for Graham and Rollins, our whole industry in the state of Virginia, actually.
Yeah, they're a treasured resource, and I
Absolutely.
hope we can all find a way to partner together to really make that a cornerstone of downtown Hampton.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much for coming, Mead.
Well,
It's been
thank
great
you.
talking to you.
I really appreciate you having me.
And thank you for watching. It is so important to remember our history and heritage of seafood and to protect and expand that to make all of our futures better. Thanks for watching.